You are specially welcome to this segment of the program. Inwagata Nosahai is my name, and always delighted to come your way every Wednesday to add premium value to your day, especially those of us that are into entrepreneurship, those of us that are leading different organizations, those of us that are HODs, team leaders, pastors, NGO practitioners, and the likes. And we have been looking at different leadership styles and its impact on workplace dynamics. For 3 weeks now, I've been zeroing it on the police institution, how we can drive and strengthen leadership in the police institution. And this morning, we are also going to further take it deeper with the police institution and how to drive effective leadership in that institution. And also, on that topic, every other leader in any other sphere or industry can also glean a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge on how to apply different leadership styles to different situations as the need arises. And the case scenario we are going to use this morning is how a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership styles to support the commissioner's vision. How a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership styles to support the commissioner's vision. Remember, the democratic leadership style is the all-inclusion leadership template where the team leader allows team members to bring ideas on board to make a creative contribution for the advancement of the team. It is all-inclusive. It carries everybody along. Now, the benefit of such a leadership style is that at the end of the day, it results to very creative and astounding idea. But if the democratic leadership style is overused because of too much deliberations, too much analysis, it can lead to serious wastage of time. In situations where urgent decision needs to be made, the democratic leadership style, if overused, cannot work in your favor. Then we have the coercive leadership style, which is the template of do as I say command style of leadership. It is very useful when it comes to handling matters of serious indiscipline, very important when it comes to making sure that crises are quickly resolved and managed. And then if you overuse, it can become overbearing and discourage harmony and fluid collaboration in the team. Then the affiliative leadership style is all about driving team harmony. It's a leadership style that is very concerned about the emotional and psychological state of the people. It wants to ensure that there is team trust, there is team harmony. Now, if that affiliative leadership style is also overused, you are going to see a situation of tolerance of mediocrity. Performance, low performance will be, almost become the norm because the team leader wants to just see that everybody is happy, people are carried along. And it is very important you know as a strategic leader, this is when to apply this leadership style. This is when to transition and shift from me. This is when to move into another leadership style. And that is why this morning, the case scenario we are using to look at these different leadership styles and their impact on workplace dynamics is how a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, affiliative, how a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership styles to support the commissioner's vision. I go straight into the case scenario. A newly appointed commissioner of police introduced a clear vision for the state command to strengthen intelligence-led policing, improve rapid response, and restore public confidence. That is the vision by the newly appointed Commissioner of Police. And the case scenario is how a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership style to support that vision. A newly appointed Commissioner of Police introduced a clear vision for the state command. And what's the vision? To strengthen intelligence-led policing, improve rapid response, and restore public confidence. A superintendent of police heading a specialist unit recognized that achieving this vision required his unit to align its operation with the new strategic direction. That is the vision the commissioner just brought on board. Now, the superintendent initially adopted the democratic leadership style. He invited officers and supervisors to discuss the commissioner's vision and share ideas on how the specialist unit could contribute. Officers suggested improvement to intelligence gathering, information sharing, operational planning, and collaboration with other formations. After considering the suggestions, the superintendent and his team agreed on specific priorities and responsibilities. This created a strong sense of ownership because officers understood that their contributions had influenced the unit's operational plan. That is what the democratic leadership is all about. All-inclusive leadership, where you allow team members to make contribution on how to achieve set goals and objectives, or even how to create goals and create vision for the team. The Commissioner of Police have a vision for the state. He spelled it out. Then a superintendent of police that is held in a specialist unit, wanted to make sure that he is able to connect his team members, his unit, to see that the vision of the commissioner is achieved. Now, he brought in the democratic leadership style to make sure that that happens. However, after several weeks, the superintendent observed that some officers were failing to meet agreed deadlines, ignoring operational instructions and showing reluctance to adopt the new procedures. Recognizing that excessive consultation could undermine the urgency of the commissioner's vision, he transitioned into the coercive leadership style. When you continue to overuse the democratic leadership style, it is going to result to a laissez-faire attitude. It could result to indifference attitude where people are really not committed. And the way to see that you restore discipline is to introduce or shift or transition to the coercive leadership style, which is the do as I say leadership style. And that is what exactly the superintendent of police, heading the specialist unit in the state police command, did in this case scenario. After bringing in the democratic leadership style, and the next thing he decided to do when he saw that things were not working as intended was to bring in the coercive leadership style. Clear instructions were issued, deadlines became non-negotiable, and officers were held accountable for failure to perform assigned responsibilities. Supervisors were directed to monitor compliance closely. The firmer approach quickly improved discipline, operational responsiveness, and adherence to the unit objectives. That is what the coercive leadership does. He was able to shift from democratic all inclusion. When he noticed indiscipline, he brought in the do as I say style of leadership, which is the coercive side of leadership, to ensure that things are done correctly in achieving not only just the goals and objectives of the unit, but to ensure that the overall vision of the police commissioner for that state command is achieved. That became the reality. Now, what is the title of the case scenario again? How a superintendent of police applied democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership styles to support the commissioner's vision. Now, we have seen how he brought in the democratic, how he brought in the coercive. After that, let's see how he brought in the affiliative leadership style, which is about ensuring there is team harmony, full collaboration, and trust in the team. After the unit regained focus and performance improved, the superintendent recognized that maintaining a highly coercive approach could damage morale and create unnecessary tension. That is when you continue to hold on to the command style of leadership, which is the coercive style of leadership, morale may be damaged. You need to also learn how to shift and create balance with another leadership style, this time around the affiliative leadership style. He therefore shifted to the affiliative leadership style. He began recognizing good performance, listening to officers' concerns, encouraging teamwork, and addressing interpersonal conflicts promptly. Team meetings became opportunities to celebrate achievements and strengthen relationships. The combination of the three leadership styles enabled the specialist unit to contribute effectively to the commissioner's vision while maintaining discipline and team harmony. The experience demonstrated that effective leadership is not about permanently adopting one style, but knowing when to involve people, when to demand compliance, and when to build relationships. Very important how a superintendent of police applied the democratic, coercive, and affiliative leadership style to support the commissioner's vision. What are two key practical lessons from this case scenario as I begin to conclude? Number one, practical leadership lessons from the case scenario. Effective leaders must adapt their leadership style to the situation. Very important. Democratic leadership style can create ownership. Coercive leadership style can restore discipline when necessary, while affiliative leadership style can rebuild trust and team harmony. No single style is effective in every situation. This is one key leadership lesson, that is the core of the message of this topic. What is the main umbrella topic? Different leadership styles and their impact on workplace dynamics. And the core message of it is for you to understand that a particular leadership style does not fit all situations. You should know when to shift from leadership style A to B and C. Then the second leadership lesson from the case scenario. Leadership requires balancing results with relationships. Very important. I will take that again. Leadership requires balancing results with relationships. Leaders must be firm enough to achieve organizational goals, but caring enough to maintain morale and commitment. Leaders must be firm enough to achieve organizational goals, but caring enough to maintain morale and commitment. The ability to transition from demanding performance to rebuilding relationships is essential for sustainable success. This is the core of this series, which is different leadership style and their impact on workplace dynamics. So as a leader, just like the superintendent of police in this specialist unit of a state police command, you should also know when to apply a particular leadership style. Like he did, he applied the democratic leadership style to see how they can support the commissioner's vision. It was all inclusion. He brought all unit heads on board to see how, the vision of the commissioner could be supported. Then after a while, when he noticed that, people were not really so committed, he brought in the coercive leadership style. From there, he moved into, the affiliative leadership style to ensure team harmony. Now, I believe that lots of value have been added to you today. I know you want to, make inquiries, send messages across, and you have been doing that through my email address, and you can also do that today. INUAGHATA is my email address, which is right there on the screen, inuagata@gmail.com. Send your inquiries, send your questions, and let's build a better leadership community and nation for ourselves. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. When I return, I will still be the amiable Inuagata no Saha. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.